Everybody numb yet? Bring that up a little bit for you. Thank you.
Well, folks, welcome to the safest place in Alaska. Look at all these folks armed around us. The safest place you can possibly be is right here, right now. Well, I love that. That's what America's all about. You know, we're talking about patriots here, and I don't qualify to be on this stage in that sense. But I do thank all the patriots that I see around us here, all the people who serve. Thank you. I want to talk today about a great struggle. A great struggle that's going on in our country right now. I'll tell you about strengths. If we look at this struggle that we're in with the left, people who want government, and they say, well, what's your answer to people not being able to feed themselves? It's not get a job, it's go to the government. They say, well, what's your answer to people needing housing? It's not going to get a job, it's going to the government. Well, if the government's the answer to everything, that means you're on the left. And that means you're a simpleton. And that you are not capable of governing yourself. Well, we've got a lot of work to do because we have millions and millions of people who say, you know what, the government's the answer to everything. Any problem you list, the government's going to fix that for me, the government's going to take care of me. So I look at this great struggle that we're in right now. The struggle between left and right. The struggle between the individual and the collective. The struggle between our founders and the people who currently run this country. So I look at it as kind of a project management issue. I want to win. That's what the end of my project looks like. The end of my project looks like conservatives win elections, and that we don't have to be afraid of a government that's got too much power over us. How do we get there? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, and some things to do. What is the strength of the conservative movement? Well, I'd say the most important one is that we're right. We're right. We got some other strengths. We have a lot of kids. They don't. I got 9 kids. How you guys doing? You guys doing your part out there? Come on. So we got some strengths that we can depend on, that we can look to. And there are many of them. We're good people. We're willing to do the right thing. We're willing to get out. We're willing to work. And hopefully we're willing to talk to our neighbor. What are our weaknesses? I was just talking to Senator Dunleavy. And we have a great weakness because we're in the midst of a transition for America. And in transition, there's confusion. If I asked you, and it used to be Republicans, right? We used to say, you know, look, I'm a Republican. Everybody knew what that meant. Yeah, the top 5 things. I'm pro-life. I want limited government. I like free markets. I like states' rights. I want people to be responsible for themselves. Very simple, right? That's what Republican used to be. Well, it's not that simple anymore. If I ask 100 people, well, if somebody tells you they're a Republican, what does that mean to you? Well, that probably means they're from, you know, the establishment group. That's probably what it means, because if you meant that you were conservative, like the 5 conservative things that I just say, you would say, I'm a conservative. I believe in states' rights. You know, you would use some other words to describe it. So right now, one of our weaknesses, we've got confusion. We don't know what language to use to try and convince our neighbor that we're right and explain what it is that we want to do and what we'll do better than the other side. Opportunities. In Alaska, we have the greatest opportunity as a conservative movement that we've ever had, in my opinion. Right now, they are discussing how much of your paycheck they're going to get, how much of your dividend they're going to get, how much they're going to raise your property taxes, how much they're going to get sales taxes. They're discussing it right now. That gives us an opportunity. Because now we can say, how much do you love government? I mean, honestly, you tell me, how much do you love government? Do you love it $1,000 per person? Do you love it $2,000 per person? How much do you want them to take from you? And that is a question we have not been able to legitimately ask for a while, because before we were always thinking, well, it might be okay or it might be really bad, and Republicans and conservatives are always sort of negative people. They're always take the negative side of things. But we don't have to take the negative side of things. Right now, they're discussing how much of our paychecks are going to take, how much of our dividends are going to take, how much sales taxes are going to take, how much property taxes are going to take. This is our opportunity. And we need to take this opportunity to organize. And I'm going to tell you about that in a little bit. What's our threat? I'll tell you right now that there are two threats that I see as the most important things for us to face. We had a 10%, 12%, 13% turnout in the last election. The other side turned out more people than us. They're paid to turn out. We don't have a good answer for that. That's the threat. You know, if we don't love liberty as much as they love getting a bigger paycheck on your back, we got a problem winning, and that means we got a problem. So public sector unions are a big deal. They get paid to vote, we don't get paid to vote. Well, maybe now we will, because they're talking about taxing us. So maybe we got a little bit better answer to that. Education's the other one. I cannot tell you how miseducated the children of today are being. They don't understand the things that you were taught. They don't believe the same things that you were taught. They're being taught religious values in the form of what they eat, whether or not they recycle, whether or not they believe in global warming. Your children are being miseducated, and you have got to stop that. So two things that we have real threats: public sector unions and their monopoly control over education. Without doing something about those two things, we got real trouble. What are we going to do about it? Well, I'm glad you guys are here, first of all, and I'm glad you guys organized this. Thank you guys so much. Can we give them a round of applause? I really appreciate it. There are not many things as I go through life here which inspire a conservative to participate. When they think they're going to lose, when there's confusion, if our candidates are not perfect, and this often happens nowadays, in fact, they're very rarely perfect, we decide that we're not going to participate. And when we do, we lose. So here's one suggestion that I have, and you probably will hear about this. By the way, Joe Miller just showed up, a true patriot. One of the things that conservatives have which governs what they do is their promise. And I'm going to ask for conservatives across the state to do something, and hopefully we'll see this roll out here in the next year or so. But it's a process called I Pledge. We filter everything now. You know, I get 20 text messages a day, I get 400 email messages a day. You know, I get my Facebook is full. I just can't take the information. I don't know how to filter. I don't know how to sort it. I don't know how to make sense of all of it. The result is, you know, when a union boss sends his union members a list of people to vote for and that you're expected to go vote on this day, you know what that guy does? He goes out and votes. He doesn't need any more communications. It's a very simple process. For us, it needs to be that simple. And if we cannot make it simple, when are we supposed to vote? Who are we supposed to vote for? All of these things, if we can't figure that out, we just can't win. Because they have a very simple process, a very effective process. I pledge is this: I pledge to vote. That's the first part. The second part is, I pledge to receive information from groups that I trust. Before, we could just get information from the Republican Party and we say, okay, well, the Republicans are running, or we didn't even need that. We just go down and vote, we vote Republican. Well, do we do that anymore? No. Should we? No, probably not. But what are we going to do? There's about 30 different conservative organizations across the state of Alaska. Knights of Columbus, Alaska Right to Life, Alaska Republican Assembly, South Central Patriots. These are people who believe deeply and very similarly to the things that we believe. And I don't even know, for each of you, the groups that you want to hear who they support are all different. For unions, there's one group, their group. What does their union boss say they should do? That's it. For us, it's much more complicated, but we have got to make it simple. I pledge to vote. I pledge to receive information. And I pledge to take your call or your email or your text or your Facebook post or whatever it is that you said you would send me in order to help me get out and vote and be effective. I pledge. So look for that. I'm hoping that we already have all the pieces, parts in place, but I'm hoping that people will accept that and that they will do that, and we will make this real. Because if we don't come up with the process similar to what the left has, we're going to be in real trouble. So that's the essence of it, folks. We've got strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. At this point, nothing's going to change anything unless we get out, figure out how to be effective, how to argue, how to make a point with our neighbor, how to inspire them. And lastly, the most important thing is thank our people who are here but believe in this country. Keep it free. Because there are a lot of people out there who do not believe in freedom in the same way that we do. Freedom comes from them from a check that they get from the government, not from freedom from government. Freedom comes from them from knowing the right people who are in office, like a Mark Begich, Lisa Murkowski. Not from being able to have your own land and your own family. So there are changes and differences that are coming up, and it's going to make it so that we have to work harder. But that's okay. God gave us a will, and He gave us a great country. God bless.